Welcome back for another deep dive. Today we're looking at something that I think a lot of people struggle with, mindset. It's like how the way we think, our beliefs can really shape our journey.
Yeah, like our internal world ends up influencing what happens outside almost.
Yeah, exactly. And specifically, we're diving into this research on scarcity and abundance mindsets. Have you ever felt like no matter what you do, there's just not enough to go around? Or that, like, someone else's success means you're losing out?
It's a common feeling for sure.
Yeah. We're going to unpack all of that today, especially because, well, you mentioned feeling a bit stuck in your career, right?
Yeah, kind of like hitting a wall, like I'm working hard, but it's not enough.
I get that. And that feeling that things are limited, that's what we call a scarcity mindset.
Right, like a pie and only so many slices.
Exactly. So if someone else gets a bigger piece,
You get a smaller one.
the research on this is fascinating. When people feel scarce, their brains actually go into survival mode.
Oh, wow.
They get more risk averse, less creative, even less collaborative.
That makes sense. It's like you're protecting what little you have.
Right. Imagine you're in a meeting and a colleague presents a great idea. But instead of feeling inspired, you're thinking, ugh, that should have been me.
Totally. That's scarcity talking.
It makes you wonder, how much potential do we miss out on because we're so focused on what we don't have?
That's a big question.
It is, and this scarcity mindset, it can even impact us physically. Increase stress, sleep problems.
Really?
Yeah. In your email, you mentioned trouble sleeping, right? Maybe it's all connected.
Wow, I never thought of that. That's interesting.
Definitely something to consider. But hey, there's good news too. Just like scarcity creates this downward spiral, there's this thing called an abundance mindset.
Abundance. Huh?
Yeah. It's like seeing a world full of possibilities. Someone else's success, it inspires you, not threatens you.
So instead of that pie with limited slices, it's like,
It's like there's enough pie for everyone. And more importantly, there are different pies. All kinds of opportunities we might not even see yet.
that's a much better way to look at things.
And the research shows people with this abundance mindset, they're more generous, more willing to take risks, more resilient.
They see challenges as opportunities, not threats, huh?
Exactly. It's almost like a different operating system for life. But here's the big question. Can we actually choose to change our mindset like that?
I mean, our beliefs feel so ingrained.
They do, right? But the good news is our brains are incredibly adaptable. Even as adults, we can rewire our thinking.
Wow. So it is possible to shift from scarcity to abundance.
It is. It might not happen overnight, but with effort, we can totally do it.
So how do we actually make that shift happen?
Well, there are some practical strategies, actually surprisingly simple ones that we can use.
I'm all ears.
We'll dive into those next time. But for now, what are you thinking? Does this scarcity versus abundance idea resonate with you? So we've talked about how shifting from that scarcity to abundance is possible.
Right, but like how do we actually do it?
Well, the research actually points to some pretty practical, even simple strategies.
Okay, that sounds promising.
Yeah. One that comes up a lot is gratitude.
Gratitude, like being thankful, seems a bit basic.
I know, right? But the science behind it is super interesting. When we focus on what we're grateful for, it kind of shifts our attention away from what we lack.
So instead of dwelling on the negative.
Exactly. We start appreciating the good stuff we already have.
But what if you're stuck in that scarcity mindset?
Yeah.
Like genuinely worried about not having enough, gratitude feels kind of forced, then
Totally get that. But here's where it gets cool. Even if you don't feel grateful at first, the act of expressing it can actually change your brain chemistry.
no way, really.
Yeah. It triggers these happy chemicals like dopamine and serotonin.
So even if it feels fake at the beginning,
It can jumpstart a more positive loop in your brain.
huh? So like faking it till you make it, but for your mindset.
Kinda, yeah. And the more you do it, the easier it becomes.
Makes sense. Practice makes perfect, right?
Right. Even small things, like keeping a gratitude journal, can make a big difference.
You know, when I was reading up on this, I started keeping one myself.
Yeah.
Honestly, it felt weird at first.
I tried it too. It does feel a little awkward.
But after a while, I did notice a shift. Less stress, more optimistic.
Totally, me too. Okay, so gratitude is one thing, but there's also this idea of reframing challenges.
Reframing. What do you mean?
Instead of seeing setbacks as failures.
We see them as like learning experiences.
Exactly. The research shows this can make us way more resilient.
Instead of getting stuck on the obstacle.
We ask, okay, what can I learn from this?
That's interesting.
It reminds me of Elon Musk and SpaceX. All those early rocket
Those
failures.
people would have given up, right?
Totally. But Musk saw each one as a chance to improve. He even said, failure is an option here. If things aren't failing, you're not innovating enough.
Wow. That's commitment to the process.
Big time. Okay, but what about when you're surrounded by negativity? Like in a workplace where everyone's super competitive?
Yeah, that's tough. Your environment has got to play a role, right?
Yeah, it does. But even then, we have a choice.
They do.
Yeah, we can either get sucked into that negativity.
Or we can choose to be positive, even abundant, despite it.
Right, instead of complaining about the lack of opportunities.
We create our own.
Yes, and sometimes that means leaving toxic environments.
Finding places that actually support your growth, huh?
Exactly. We have the power to choose who we surround ourselves with.
That's so true. Our social circles, they really matter.
They do. Okay, here's another strategy. Celebrating others' successes.
Ooh, that one's tough when you're feeling insecure.
I know, right? But when we can genuinely celebrate someone else,
It takes us out of that competitive scarcity mode.
and it kind of opens us up to the possibility of abundance for everyone.
Like acknowledging that their win doesn't take away from yours.
Right. It might even inspire you to achieve even more.
It's like a rising tide lifts all boats.
Love that analogy. Okay, so far we've got gratitude, reframing challenges, celebrating others. Anything else?
One more, and it might seem counterintuitive. Focusing on what we can give.
Instead of always wanting more.
Yeah. Shifting the focus to contributing to something bigger than ourselves.
That's interesting. Doesn't have to be huge things, right?
Not at all. Small acts of kindness, sharing knowledge, volunteering.
I see how it all ties together. Gratitude, reframing, giving, celebrating others. It all builds on itself.
It's like creating this positive feedback loop, reinforcing that abundance mindset.
It's pretty powerful stuff. But what about those limiting beliefs we talked about? The ones that tell us we're not good enough.
Yeah, those are tricky. They can really sabotage us.
They do. How do we even deal with them? They feel so ingrained.
First step is awareness. Got to pay attention to that inner voice, the stories we're telling ourselves.
So becoming more mindful of our thoughts.
Exactly. And then we challenge those beliefs.
Mhm.
Are they actually true? What evidence do we have?
It's about taking back control, right? Choosing a more empowering story.
Yes. And this is where affirmations can be helpful.
Affirmations, those always seemed a bit cheesy to me.
They can be if they're not done right. But research shows they can actually rewire our brains.
Really?
Yeah. It's about choosing ones that resonate with you and repeating them with feeling.
Not just empty words.
Exactly. It's about embodying the belief you're trying to cultivate.
So if you're struggling with feeling worthy of success,
You might repeat, I am worthy of abundance and success in all areas of my life.
and over time, your brain starts to believe it.
It's like reprogramming your mind for abundance.
That's amazing. I'm starting to see how transformative this shift can be. But are there any real-world examples, people who've actually done this?
Tons. One that always comes to mind is Oprah Winfrey.
Oprah, yeah. She's a perfect example. Came from nothing, faced so many challenges.
But she always believed in her potential.
And look at her now.
It's not just the wealth and fame, though. It's her commitment to empowering others, sharing her gifts.
She walks the walk, Doesn't just talk about abundance, she lives it.
It's inspiring to see how an abundance mindset can not only change your own life, but also uplift those around you.
It's a ripple effect, huh? Okay, as we wrap up this part of our deep dive, what are your key takeaways about this abundance mindset? What should people remember?
I think the biggest thing is it's not about pretending everything's perfect. Challenges are real. It's about choosing to see possibility despite those challenges.
And remembering that there's enough for everyone, right? Our successes aren't mutually exclusive.
Exactly. And it's about taking action. Gratitude, reframing, giving, challenging those beliefs.
It's a journey, not a destination.
Exactly. Be patient with yourself, celebrate the small wins, and keep moving forward.
This has been so insightful. I'm already feeling a shift in my own thinking. What about you? What's resonating most with you so far?
It's really amazing, isn't it? Like, just changing how we think can make such a big difference.
Yeah, it's powerful stuff. Our minds are incredible, We really can shape our own reality.
I keep thinking back to what you said about feeling stuck in your career. Do you see any connection to, like, that scarcity mindset we've been talking about? Well, absolutely. I've always been super driven,
Yeah?
Got to succeed, got to get to the top.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
But I think somewhere along the way,
Yeah.
I started believing that there were only so many spots, like limited opportunities.
That's right.
And if someone else got promoted, it meant less for me.
That makes total sense. Classic scarcity thinking. And like we said, that can become a self-fulfilling prophecy, you know?
Yeah. Anxiety, competition, it really holds you back.
It does. It's like you're so focused on what you don't have, you miss out on what's right in front of you.
Ugh, that's me, for sure. I was so busy looking at what I lacked.
We all do it sometimes. It's easy to get caught up in that comparison game.
Oh, yeah. Always wanting more, more, more.
And we forget to be grateful for what we already have.
That's the key, isn't it? Gratitude.
It's a big one. But here's the thing. The research says this scarcity feeling, it's often more about our perception than reality.
So even if resources are limited,
Our mindset can make it feel way worse or help us find creative solutions.
all about perspective, huh?
It really is. It's like choosing to see possibility, even when things are tough.
Okay, so as we wrap up this deep dive, what are some things people can actually do to start shifting towards that abundance mindset?
That's the big question, right? Well, we talked about a lot today, but I think the key takeaways are
Key takeaways, let's see. Gratitude is huge EE.
for sure.
Even if it's just 5 minutes a day, make time to appreciate the good stuff.
Love that. What else?
Those limiting beliefs, got to
Yeah.
challenge them. Don't let those negative thoughts hold you back.
Right, like I'm not good enough or I'll never achieve that
Yep. And then focus on what you can give.
instead of always trying to get.
Exactly. Contribute, help others. It shifts your whole perspective.
And last but not least,
Surround yourself with the right people. People who lift you up, inspire you, believe in you.
your tribe matters big time. Those are some great reminders.
They are. And remember, it's not about being perfect. It's a journey.
Be kind to yourself. Celebrate the small wins.
And keep moving forward.
I know I've learned a lot today. This has been such an insightful conversation. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. And until next time, keep choosing abundance.